You're listening to the Betoota Advocates Weekly News Wrap on Desert Rock FM 96.5. Welcome back to the Betoota Advocate Weekly Bulletin. You're joined today, as usual, by myself, Clancy Overell, editor of the Betoota Advocate. Errol Park, editor-at-large, is also here. How are you, Errol?
Good, mate. I've just gotten off the PayPal, actually. I was buying a few of the vaccine passports that we're going to have to get, to travel around the country in the coming months. I've managed to buy some for some Ethereum on the dark web. I got a tip off a mate, and we went on there, and I bought a bunch of vaccine passports for, a few of my mates down at the Lad Society. A couple of my hiking mates, we go up in the bush and we go hiking. And
that's... sounds pretty fucking illegal what you're doing there, Errol, and you probably want to steer clear of that kind of stuff, considering you actually have conceded yourself and gotten your vaccines. I don't know why you'd be, I guess,
that's just what I've told all the listeners. That's just what I've told all.
Okay, well, let's move on. How are you going? How are you going, Wendell?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks, Clancy. Finals football has arrived, so as a comfortable middle-class Australian citizen, it's good to distract me from the current situation. How are you travelling, Clancy?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Queensland, the show goes on. Feelings for you lot listening in that are down south. Going on 11 weeks now down there in the harbour city, in the steak and kidney. Things must be bloody grim. But, keep your head up. Sorry that Brisbane, Suncorp had to take your NRL grand final from you, but it'll be a much better show there anyway, and a much better party for the boys afterwards when they can go to whatever pub they want. What's up first in the news this week, Wendell?
Well, we will start off with the biggest story of the week, and we broke a report about that one, asking, how does this bloke still think he can get away with secret little holidays?
Yes, it's a revelation that's left the nation shaking its head at our leaders once again. With many people expecting some of the gaffes coming out of the Women's Safety Summit to be the biggest stories early in the week, Scotty from marketing actually blew everyone away by confirming that he had decided to take an ill-advised trip across the New South Wales border out of Canberra to Sydney and back home after spending the weekend with his family, a luxury that was not afforded to over 15 million Australians.
Yes, Clancy, with the bloke in chief, he was missing his family, like millions of other Australians around the country, but Scotty decided to book himself a special RAAF jet to take him up to Sydney and out of the epicentre of the Sydney sneeze.
Of course, this comes off the back of his most recent trip to Cornwall, which was apparently for some sort of summit that he wasn't invited to, which actually ended up being just a little chance for him to visit the pubs of his ancestral home, I believe. And of course, Australians do not forget the famous Hawaii escape in the middle of the bushfires. Yeah, it's these constant little holidays that he thinks he can get away with, which he can't. It really has people asking, how does he keep pulling this shit?
Well, Clancy, you do know that he is a lifelong public servant, and if you spend that long in the public service, you get used to perks, and perks are there to be abused. So I guess if there is a moral to this story, it means that every public servant in Australia should have their perks stripped away from them.
Well, it has to happen sooner or later, because it looks like this wasn't the only trip he made interstate.
No, the answer to that question about how long he's going to keep doing it seems to be until someone stops him, because a short time after that, we broke an exclusive about Scotty, which was, fuck, he's done it again. Scotty gets special exemption for sunset camel ride at Cable Beach.
Yes, barely 24 hours after his back and forth across the closed ACT New South Wales border, Broome media outlets have revealed that Scotty was actually working tirelessly to keep the good times rolling. Somehow he found a way into Western Australia and popped into the Kimberley region to enjoy himself a nice little sunset camel ride.
Yes, it was something that Supreme Leader Mark McGowan is not happy about at all. It was confirmed by a couple of blokes drinking export cans on a bonnet of a station wagon that Scotty had decided to pull a few strings and enjoy a little soiree out of Canberra.
Never ends with these blokes. We were lucky we could confirm that story with those blokes that were, I guess you'd say, plane spotting at the back of the Broome airport. Looked like they were having a good time too.
On the other side of the centre of the political spectrum, Labor has begun its election campaign by parachuting a rich American into the most economically disadvantaged electorate in Australia.
Yes, Wendell, it's a move that has certainly frustrated a lot of the tireless political diehards who thought things were starting to change on the inside of the Workers' Party. The powers that be, though, in the Labor Party have decided to kick off their election tilt in Fowler, a pretty diverse electorate too, by dropping in a rich American who lives on Sydney's affluent northern beaches.
Yes, it's a sign that Labor is very much connected to its working class roots. Former New South Wales Premier Christina Keneally has been brought in to win the unique seat in Western Sydney. Sporting a Gucci hat and a banh mi sandwich, Keneally told us that she's excited to represent the people of Fowler, who she looks forward to meeting over the next couple of months. And she's very, very excited to give them one of their own to vote for, a true immigrant.
A success story, Clancy.
The flower in the concrete that was a first-class flight from Boston here in 1998.
Back home in the confines of Queensland now, and the AstraZeneca is too risky, says a Brisbane man who rides those electric death trap share scooters around Southbank for a laugh after 10 schooners at the Fox.
At least that sounds like a fun way to go. Better than feeling a sharp pain pounding up your legs and up your torso before you keel over.
Well, you're nearly out of your 42-day window there, Errol, so just hold on, steady on. Anyway, this bloke we spoke down to in the River City says he's not having a bar at the AstraZeneca. Like plenty of others in Queensland, West End resident Damien Chester says he's not in any rush to get his jab because COVID doesn't exist up there as far as he can see. So, the same man who goes flying around the brown snake after a skinful of piss says until not having it affects his way of life, he's staying away from the AZ because he just doesn't trust it and it's dangerous, according to all the news he's been reading and the politicians he's been listening to.
Well, maybe when he catches it, Clancy, we can, hope that the people down there in Brisbane have any sense and just push him into the river.
He'd go the same way as those share scooters who seem to be parked increasingly underneath the William Jolly Bridge.
Piling up. Now, let's finish up with a bit of a lighter, warm-hearted story to round out the week. A man down in Sydney has confirmed that he's just popping over to a mate's place to check on him with a carton of piss and 2 fresh decks.
Yeah, a lovely human story from down there in Sydney. A couple of blokes from Betoota who are currently living down there have reached out to share details about the nice little arrangement they've got going on. With restrictions still pretty tough, one of the local men explained that he's linked up with his mate as his single bubble buddy. And he's heading over there with a case of brain varnish, a couple of green demons, and a couple decks of lung lollies.
And he said to us, and I quote, "If the cops knock on the door and demand answers, I'm sure Tim and I will be pissed enough to kiss in front of the policemen to show them that we are intimate with one another. We are modern men, you see. Always down for a good time."
And what a lovely way to wrap up this week's Weekly Bulletin.
Yeah, indeed. All this chat about schooners has me itching to get out of the booth. So we will leave it there and we'll be back to talk to you guys again soon. See ya. Bye-bye.
Hooroo!